Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because this is one I'm very passionate about. I work with children and families, and so this is something that I work around or work with on my day-to-day, on my regular job, and everyone I work with. Everyone I worked with when I really did focus on this type of cases knew how passionate I was about things like this. So we're going to be talking about abuse. Yes, abuse. So I'm going to be focusing on domestic abuse. There's different kinds of abuse. There is physical abuse, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. There's financial abuse, which is basically when your spouse, because of course we're focusing on married people, and you can, if you're single, you can also use it as a way to see signs while you're still courting, so you know if it's time to run away. So anyway, financial abuse is basically when your partner or your spouse is trying to control the finances in the home, in the family, trying to use money or finances or resources or the resources in the family to manipulate you, to try to control you. Maybe your spouse is the one making the money, you're not working, and they're trying to just manipulate you, like, okay, I make the money, like, just basically that's financial abuse. And then there is sexual abuse. A lot of people in some parts of the world don't even believe that married people can actually have a problem with sexual abuse. But yes, there is sexual abuse, whether someone is married to you or not. If they say no, no is no. Just because you married someone doesn't give you a right over their body. Their body is still theirs. There's so many reasons. Someone could be sick, someone could be having some emotional problems, whatever the case may be. If your spouse says no, it's no. So there is sexual abuse. People also try to use sex as a way to control their partner. And then there's verbal abuse, which is one that is really terrible. The reason it's very terrible is a lot of people ignore verbal abuse because they say, oh yeah, it's just verbal abuse. He didn't hit me, he didn't lay his hands on me, he didn't do any of that. It's just verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is very close to physical abuse. So when verbal abuse starts happening, more than likely you're very close to the onset of physical abuse. Is likely gonna come. They come hand in hand. They happen. That's just what it is. Verbal abuse is horrible. It does damage to a person's self-esteem. How they see themselves is just horrible. And then there is emotional abuse, where someone tries to manipulate you. This is very common with people that are narcissistic. They basically try to manipulate you when there's an issue. They try to turn the tables. It's never their fault. They're never willing to, And then psychological abuse is also, there are lots of different kinds of abuse. And so, but we're going to be focusing on domestic violence, because domestic violence is one that is a huge red flag. If you're single and you're dating someone, you see signs of physical abuse, domestic violence, domestic abuse, whatever you call it, you see those signs. Don't try to wish it away. Don't try to feel like you're gonna change them. Don't try to feel like, oh, if I go for therapy with them, I'll change them. Don't try to do all of that. There's really no need for that while you're dating. That's not God's will for you. That is definitely not God's will for you. Domestic violence could also lead to death. A lot of people have not been alive to tell the story. So, but the thing is, it's very difficult to leave a domestic violence situation. That I agree with. Is a very complex move. When you decide that you're not gonna tolerate it anymore and you want to leave, it's very difficult. So you have to be strategic. You have to maybe speak to a therapist, speak to someone that you trust. Just make sure that you're not just, because it could be really complicated. So I'm going to just talk about some signs of domestic violence, some early signs that you will see and know that there's problem. Now I'm focusing on the singles, the people that are in courtship or dating, planning to get married. If you're in a relationship with someone and you just notice that when you guys have a disagreement, when you guys have an argument, there are tone is uneven. Their voice keeps going up, they are yelling, they are angry, like, really angry. It's very normal to get angry sometimes, but how you react to anger matters. How you really react, how you act, how you allow that emotion to control you tells a lot about your character as a person. So if you're having a misunderstanding with your partner, remember, love is kind. Love is not cruel. So even in anger, love is still kind. So whether you're having conflict or not, your partner is supposed to be kind to you. So keep that in mind on one side. But, if their voice keeps going up, they're yelling, that's a sign. That's a sign that should be taken very, very seriously. And also there is, if you're having a misunderstanding with your partner and they start threatening you, oh, I'm going to slap you, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to do this, take that very, very seriously. Take it very, very seriously, because most times, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So for someone to say something like that, it probably means that that's something that they can do. So, take that seriously. And then there is when they slap you once and you're like, oh, they slapped me, he's gonna change, it was just once, I made him angry, never ever blame yourself for something someone else does. No matter what, it's never your fault how someone chooses to behave or react to a situation. That has nothing to do with you. That's entirely them. So if someone lays their hands on you in any way, manner, or form, whether it's push you or slap you or hit you, whatever, take it very, very seriously, because again, that tells the character, be it a male or a female. This can go both ways. If it's a lady that does this or a man, it's the same thing. That's just totally unacceptable. If you notice that the person is possessive, your partner is possessive, they are extremely jealous, there's a very thin line between love and obsession, so you start noticing that they just want to control you, they just want to control your life, they can't really draw the line between love. They just they are possessive. That's also something that you should take very seriously, because that could be a sign, because when you don't dance to their tune, then it could lead to something else. And then another thing you should keep in mind is people have mental health issues. Mental illness is real. In the part of the world where I come from, people don't really take mental health seriously. Mental health is real. A lot of people have all kinds of mental illnesses. Some people have bipolar. Some people have personality disorders. Some people have, anger issues. It's all kinds of issues that people have, and they've never ever tried to get help for it. They've never treated it. And then you start dating this person, you get into a relationship with this person, and it just blows up, and they just start, taking all of that on you. That's something that you should watch out for. When you start noticing that this person acts weird, their reaction to situations, their perspective of things, is different. You start watching for those signs and start saying, how this reaction to this issue is way bigger than the issue. So this is not normal. So those are things that you should start looking for and start making notes of. And if you see signs like that, all I would say is take it very, very seriously. These are just a few. And one thing I'm gonna say is, whenever I meet someone who's married and going through domestic violence or going through abuse, there's no way you can tell me that you didn't see it in courtship. The signs are always there. And I'm speaking from experience. Because I have dated someone that told me that, I don't remember, I think he said, I will slap you. Or he said something like, if you say that, I'll slap you, something like that. I don't remember. The relationship ended that very day. That's it. There was no going back. I wasn't ready to listen to sorry or anything like that, because there's just some things that are just, totally unacceptable. Why would you? It just says a lot about how the person sees you, how they view you. They view you like, as an object, as a thing, like something that they own. That's not God's will for anybody. So no. So when you see those signs, it's always there. As women, we try to wish it away. We try to say, oh, he's gonna change. I'm gonna pray for him. I'm gonna love him into wholeness. I'll show him so much love. Maybe he's not seeing love. I'll show him so much love and he'll change. No, that's the job of the Holy Spirit. You're not gonna do the work of the Holy Spirit. Allow them to do their own thing, and if they change and come back to you, that's fine. But that's not. So a person is only gonna change because they decide that they want to change. It's only someone that decides that I'm ready to change that will change. People are not gonna change. You're not gonna make anybody change. Nobody makes anybody change, especially when you're meeting someone who's already an adult, is already set in their ways. It just, change doesn't happen like that. Change only happens when a person decides that I'm ready to change. That's when change happens. So it's better for you to identify these signs and just leave, because that's just the truth. There's no sugarcoating. When you identify these signs of abuse, signs of violence, leave. Because the truth is, you begin to save your marriage before your marriage happens. You begin to experience your marriage before it happens. So if you're entering a marriage with a foundation that is already faulty, if you're beginning your relationship and you already see that the foundation is faulty, there is no way a marriage can successfully stand on a foundation that is faulty. That's already an issue. So when you see that the foundation is faulty, it's either you pull down the house, pull down the structure, and begin to rebuild from the ground, from the foundation. You just can't start repainting it and making it look nice. That's not gonna work, because the problem is in the root. The effects of violence are horrible in marriage. It affects your self-esteem. It affects how you view yourself. It affects your identity. It begins to affect you mentally. Abuse does so much. Let's not even begin to talk about what it does to the child. A lot of adults that we have today that are going through mental health issues, that are angry adults, that are just suffering. That's because of what they saw. Most of them were children that were born into homes that had abuse. And, they just, I don't know. Because sometimes when people act like that, most times they've seen it while they were growing up, and they've kind of normalized it. So it's a circle. It's a very, very toxic circle that keeps happening. So if you allow this, your children will grow up and see this and think that that's normal, and it just continues. So no, we don't want, the effects are worse. Like it's worse than any benefit that you think you can enjoy from that relationship. So no, it damages you, it damages your kids, it damages yourself. It's just too much. So again, look out for the signs. If you see the signs, take a walk. So hopefully this helps someone. I promise to make this video, so hopefully this helps someone. If you did enjoy this video, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.